And that's a lot of slaves to be mass hanging. Why you didn't just put them into slavery? You got to ask yourself that question. And the reason why you're not going to get a good answer is for the simple fact that these were not your regular melanated people. They were Moors who had knowledge of law, and you just can't enslave somebody who has knowledge. You got to kill them. Period. And that's what they did. And this is when the Moors really started to lose it all. And so what happens is now Britain is trying to really reel in control of the Americas. But the problem is that these Moors had established a situation where all of these individual states were their own country. All of the individual states were their own country, and that was a problem. So this is why you have in 1871, with the Act of 1871, they created a fraudulent corporation called the United States, which only has jurisdiction in Washington D.C. No place else, just Washington D.C. because Washington D.C. is not even a state. Washington D.C. is its own separate territory. It's not a part of the United States of America at all. What you talk about, Diva? Because it's on the land. I know, because I went up there and my cousin, uncle, sister, brother, he lived in Washington, D.C. and we be in Washington. No, it's not a part of the United States of America. It's a separate territory. And in that territory is where Britain established the United States Corporation. And let's understand that the United States is not the only place they've done that. They did it in Australia, they did it in New Zealand, and they've done it in other places where they'll set up a fraudulent organization that sounds similar to the real government. And then they trick the people into pledging allegiance to this fake, fictitious, dead corporation. And the people don't know. And then people like me come in and try to tell you, and y'all like, no, she don't know what she's talking about. But I'm telling you, this is the law, and you need to understand it, melanated people who are asleep, so that you don't keep giving away your inheritance that was given to you by your ancestors. Pay attention. So at this time, you've got your Moors who have been hung because they wouldn't give up their wealth. And you've got to understand now, Britain comes in here with the Act of 1871, and they create this fraudulent organization. And in creating this fraudulent organization, now they got to find a way to get this territory back so that they can control it. And this is when you got the civil wars. Remember, civil meaning law. These are just wars that are happening in courtrooms. That's what civil means. All of these, United States coming after everybody trying to take the land. Well, this is, the United States was going after Henry Turner and his family. I had this guy to send me a document. You guys have heard of the names Day, Bay, El, Muhammad, Ali. There was a court case called the Heirs of Henry Turner versus the United States, or the United States versus the Heirs of Henry Turner. In this court case, I'm going to read this, and we're going to understand the hijack right here and understand the difference between these two groups of people and why they've got to tie this term M-O-O-R into this term M-U-U-R. They got to tie them in. They got to lie. They have to lie because they, again, these people who created the United States of America, these were Moors. They weren't original to this land. They already told you that. So they don't have any authority or jurisdiction to be doing or making any contracts to the land. But if they can some kind of way tie this garbage M-O-O-R to the original people M-U-U-R, well then they can say, oh, well then it's our land and we can make a contract. Watch this. Pay attention. The court case, the United States versus the heirs of Henry Turner, Tunica's case, 32 United States Appellate Court in 1850 was an appeal to an earlier case won by the heirs of Henry Tunica, called the Heirs of Turner, Tunica versus the United States, case 191 in 1848. In other words, on June 6, 1848, a Supreme Court decision read by Theo McCaleb declared that the United States does not own the land of the ancient mound builders of North America. Much more than 1 million square miles of land. Watch this now. Pay attention to what they just did. Before I do that, you see the date, 1850. This is period of Reconstruction. Anything written after the period of Reconstruction, you have to vet it with the finest of vetting. All right? You got to vet that. So here we go. In other words, on June 6, 1848, a Supreme Court read by Theo McCaleb declared that the United States does not own land of the ancient mound builders of North America, much more than 1 million square miles of land, MUURS, and then they put in brackets MOORS. These are not the same people. But if I can make you believe that they are, I need you to understand, again, I'm going back to this. There were two groups of people fighting in here. The United States of America, the Moors who were running that in that so-called Continental Congress, and your original people of the land. These people are of Morocco, or melanated group of folks who are from other lands or territory. It could be Morocco, it could be Britain, it could be Algiers, and we're going to find out. So, are the title holders. So they're trying to make Moors the title holders. Why would they do that? Why would Britain, because this is Britain here, all this is Britain, you can call it what you want to. By this time, Britain is fully running every court you got in the so-called United States of America. Britain is running this. But why would they want to make the Moors? Why would they want to give them title? Well, because remember, they're working together. And they're still working together to this day. There are people who are paid to misinform you. And I'm telling you right now, if you are in some kind of Moorish, whatever, and they are incorporated under the United States of America, well, here you go. They're working together. And their job is to make sure you, all your belongings, because they're going to tell you, yeah, you come on over here, we're going to put all your stuff under trust, and it's going to be up under us, and if it's up under them, then it's up under the United States of America. You just went from one umbrella to a worse umbrella. Just pay attention. The titles are El, Bey, Day, Ali, and Al. Now, these two, Bey is from Morocco, meaning Beglave or governor. Day is from Algiers, meaning governor. Same thing, Bey Day. One's from Morocco, one's from Algiers. El and Al mean electric or God for electric. Ali, that is a Muslim name. So we're talking someplace other than this land, because we know clearly that these are not the names of the original people. The original people went by these names. Then they come down here translated as the 5 civilized so-called Indian tribes: Choctaw, Washita, Cherokee, Chickasaw, Creek, Muskogee, Seminole, Yosemite. See, what they do is they marry into these families. Pay attention. That whole thing with Pocahontas and how the guy comes in and marries in, he married in to her so that they can have access to the land. Now he can say, oh, well, this is my land too, because we're family. This is why they got to put this garbage title on the true title dealing with the Washita. MUURS, the original people of this land. These people not of this land. We already established that. We already established that they're immigrants. Also, the court declared the lawful landowners are the heirs of Henry Turner. Once again, they got to put this raggedy title. This is not even a real title. Washita, MUURS. Who's throwing this title in here? When we have established these people are not of the land. They came in and took over the land, befriended the original people, ignored them, degraded their status, and then eventually put them into slavery as well. Remember to keep that bell on for notifications. Follow UNA Republic for more great information.